recording this. All right. May I once again request you to open the Excel file that we were using. Okay. So remember, guys, when we analyze the performance of the company, we use ratios. We use numerical figures, which is based on five major ratios, five major types of ratios, and these are your liquidity ratios. Okay. In our example, we have two liquidity ratios here. And then we have your asset management ratio. Then you have your debt ratio, that's your DR. And then profitability ratios. And then market value ratios. So these are the ratios I expect you to do, to analyze, to use as your framework for analyzing the performance of a firm. And then remember that you have to also look at your common size statement, okay, or otherwise known as your vertical analysis, where you take a look at the composition of your income statement and your balance sheet relative to a particular benchmark. Sa income statement, ang benchmark natin yung sales. Sa balance sheet, ang benchmark natin is your total assets or your total liabilities and equity. So you compare your assets and liabilities with your total assets and your income statement accounts to your total sales. And then we have your horizontal analysis, which is just getting the growth rate, how this particular account has changed over time across two periods, for example. So, for example, in this case, sales increased from 343 to 5834, which means there was a 70% increase in sales between from 2019 to 2020. However, the increase dropped to 20.59% from 2020 to 2021. Okay, with this, guys, you can already see a story out of this. You can compare this also with the benchmark company and see how sales has grown over the period for the benchmark company. Okay, so again, guys, it's telling a story. It's looking at your figures and trying to see what has been happening to this company. And usually, guys, you don't look just at a particular measure. Okay? You look at it from a holistic perspective, from a broader perspective by looking at it across time, okay? Looking at it also in comparison with your benchmark company. So those are the key points that I want to highlight in this explanation. Okay, so let's go here. We were supposed to already discuss yung mga turnovers, no? So we have three turnovers here: inventory turnover, accounts receivable turnover, and then accounts payable turnover. So let's start with the inventory turnover. So what's inventory turnover? Okay, first and foremost, the formula for inventory turnover is the cost of goods sold, okay, over the average inventory. Now notice, guys, we said last time that since COGS, since cost of goods sold, is a one period measure, means that you're looking at the cost of goods sold for the whole year, then it's best to pair it with also a period measure. You will see that in other references, they must have used they used only inventory, but it's better practice, guys, to use also a period amount. For example, companies usually have figures at the end of the month. Then what you can do is average the whole the 12 months to come up with your average inventory. Since we don't have the luxury of that data, then we can just use the beginning inventory divided by the ending inventory, get the average of the beginning inventory and the ending inventory. That way, guys, you have a semblance of a period measure also. Cost of goods sold for the whole year and then average inventory. You just don't get a measure at one specific point in time, but rather you try to average From the beginning up to the ending, then we average it out. Okay? So far clear yun, guys? Paki-chat nga, guys, kung clear yung kung bakit natin ina-average to. Clear ba? Thank you. The rest, guys. Okay, thank you. May I have, guys, the answer of the others? Okay, thank you. Okay. All right. So the operative principle, the guiding principle, guys, is if you have a measure that's taken over the whole period, the whole year in this instance, then it's best to also take into account either an averaging of the other measure, as the case may be. Okay, an example is your inventory turnover. So let's see. Maybe I'll just use. Okay, so let's start first with our first measure, which okay, so we're going to look at this ITO, ARTO, and APTO. So let me just illustrate it here. ITO, ARTO, and APTO. Okay, the TO here, guys, indicates turnover. So this is turnover. It means how many times. Okay, how many times. So it depends on what's being turned over. If it's inventory turned over, how many times was inventory turned over for a particular period? In this case, we're taking a look at 2021. And then ARTO, how many times was receivables turned over for 2021, and up to how many times was trade payables or accounts payable turned over for that particular period, which is 2021. So what does inventory turnover mean? So let's suppose, let's start with January 1, and then up to the end of the period, 12/31. Okay. Let's say the company bought raw materials. Okay, bought raw materials, and then they converted it into finished product and then sold it. Okay, so that's one turnover, guys. And then another one, another one, another one. Okay, then let's say this is 0.5. So this is 1, 1, 1, 1, and then let's say this is 0.5, 0.5. So that means that the company was able to turn over their inventory 4.5 times. Okay, so that's what we mean by inventory turnover. So again, it's the velocity by which a company purchases raw materials, okay, purchases goods, converts it into finished goods, and then sells it. So from the purchase of the raw materials up to selling the goods, that's one turnover. Okay, that's for manufacturing. Pag trade naman, guys, pag trading company, how many times it buys the finished goods and then sells it? How many times do they do that per year? So for example, ito, isa, okay, na-turnover na yung goods, tas nabenta na. Pangalawa, pangatlo, pang-apat, and then at the end of the year, hindi pa natapos, 0.5 pa lang. So that's 4.5 times. Okay? So that's the number of times a company is able to convert purchase raw materials, purchase materials, convert it into finished products if it's a manufacturing company, and then sell. So 4.5 times. So we know, guys, that a company with an ITO of 4.5 times as compared to a company that has, let's say, 7 times ITO. So which is the better company in this case? if you're just taking a look at ITO, assuming that they have the same that they're producing the same product, okay? Kasi hindi natin pwede i-compare kunyari si airline at saka si Jollibee. Kasi si airline guys, yung binebenta nila are inventories of airlines, no? Of aircraft. So it will take 3 years, 4 years for them to finish a cycle. Samantalang si Jollibee, kunyari burger lang yan guys, no? So no comparison. Okay, that's why it's important to get a company that belongs to your industry. Dapat parehong-pareho kayo, no? Kasi it makes no sense in comparing their ITO, for example, than ARTO, if they don't belong to the same industry or they're a mismatch as far as what they produce is concerned. So back to my question, guys, sino mas okay dito? So si company na may ITO na 4.5 o si company na may ITO na 7 times. So, sino guys? Paki-chat nga. What do you think? Which is the better company? The one with an ITO of 4.5 or the one with an ITO of 7? Okay. The rest, guys? I see only 2 answers. Okay. All right. Okay, you're correct, guys. 7. No? 7 kasi mas mabilis yung velocity nila, mas mabilis yung pag-convert nila, pagbili nila, pag-convert into finished product and then sell. The more, the greater the ITO, guys, the better for the company. Ibig sabihin, mas efficient sila. Siguro, magaling sila sa pag-access ng raw materials, pag-acquire ng raw materials. Meron na silang mga, pag-establish sila ng relationships with their suppliers, okay? Na then maybe they maintain a good inventory system na bago mawala yung raw materials sila, ando doon na, may naka-deliver na sa kanila, no? Ready na sila. Okay, so several factors why this could be so, but it speaks of efficiency. No? And generally, the higher the inventory turnover, the better for a company. Okay? Okay, clear to guys? Clear yung ITO? Okay, and then we go to ARTO. Yung ARTO naman guys, ano yung ARTO? What's ARTO? Accounts receivable turnover. So what's this about? ARTO on the other hand is, okay, so let's once again draw it guys. Ito, nabenta, no? Nabenta niya sales on account. Okay? So ito yung mga tinitingnan natin na AR. Ibig sabihin ng AR guys, nabenta na siya pero hindi pa na-collect. Okay, and then, na-collecta. So that's one turnover. Benta na naman, na-collecta. Benta na naman, na-collecta, benta na-collecta, benta na-collecta, benta na-collecta, etc. So 1, 2, kunyari ito, 3, 4, 5, 6, kunyari 0.2. No? So the ARTO of a company is 6.2. Okay? In this case, it's 6.2. So it tells us how many times, okay, kasi remember, turnovers are ratios that tell us how many times the company is able to sell on account and then collect the receivable. Okay, kung 6.2 times siya per period, ibig sabihin 6.2 times siya in a year, nakakapag ganung cycle. Sell on account, collect. Sell on account, collect. Sell on account, collect. Okay? So, compare that with the company that has, sabihin natin, 10 times, no? 10 times yung ARTO. Ito, 6.2 times lang. Sino mas maganda? Sino mas mabilis? So, we know that it's the 10 times. Kasi 10 times a year niya, no? 10 times a year na gine-generate yung pagbenta sa customer and then sa pag-collect. So, perhaps, guys, itong company na to, pwede na, although nagbibigay siya ng credit terms, magaling efficient yung yung collection. Okay? Kasi pag mabagal, ibig sabihin nun guys, kunyari 3 times lang. Ibig sabihin nun, it can tell us problems about the company, no? Kasi kung ang sa industry o kung competitor niya 10 times, tapos siya 3 times lang, ibig sabihin 3 times a year lang siya nakakabenta tapos nakakollect. Benta tapos collect, benta tapos collect. Possible reason, malaki yung ano niya, yung credit terms na binibigay. Siguro 180 days. Pag 90 days. Pag 90 days, tapos hindi pa kagad nakukolekta, so tumatagal, yung turnover natin lumiliit. No? Okay? And then how about APTO, guys? What's APTO? Ito naman, guys, umutang tayo, bumili on account. Accounts payable to. Bumili tayo, tapos bayad. Pay tayo after some time. So that's one turnover. Tapos, bayad ulit, 2, and then bayad ulit, kunyari, 3. Okay? So yung turnover na APTO, accounts payable turnover, it tells us how many times a year, how many times a period do we buy raw materials or materials, and then pay. Babayad tayo. No? How many times a year yan? Okay, dito naman guys, from the perspective of the company, ano mas maganda dito? Higher or lower? Ito kasi dito, alam natin, the higher, the better. No? Ito din, the higher, the better. On the other hand, itong APTO guys, nari 5 times to, as compared to a company whose APTO is, let's say, 2.5 or 3.2 times. So strictly speaking guys, sino mas maganda dito? Yung APTO na 5 times or yung APTO na 3.2 times? Sa tingin nyo? So this is quite tricky guys, no? Yung APTO. Yung ARTO at saka ITO medyo medyo klaro yun na mas mabilis, mas maganda, no? Okay? Okay. So pwede natin, thank you Hans, no? Pwede natin masabi na mas maganda yung 3.2 times. In a sense, in a sense. Let's be qualified about that. Bakit mas maganda siya yung 3.2 times? It can mean guys na you have an arrangement with your supplier na mas matagal kang nang magbabayad. No? Okay, sino ba naman ang hindi papayag guys kung ang credit terms natin and let's say 1% in 30 days discount and then no discount in 90 days. Diba? Kunyari, N over 90, if you recall sa accounting nyo, no? Yung credit terms natin, N over 90, ibig sabihin you pay the amount in 90 days. Mas maganda kung N over 180. No? Ibig sabihin, you're given 6 months in order to pay your accounts payable, trade payables. Okay? So, ganun ang ibig sabihin nun. Pero may downside din yan, guys, ha? May downside din, which will explain mamaya. Ano yung downside niyan? Yung APTO na to. Okay, so far clear, guys, itong tatlong to. Itong ITO, ARTO, APTO. And you have the formulas here, no? Sales over average AR. And then, ito, yung APTO, strictly speaking, it should be the purchases. But since we don't have purchases, no? We use cost of goods sold divided by accounts payable. Okay, notice guys, kung sino yung tina-turnover, nasa denominator siya. Inventory turnover divided by average inventory. Accounts receivable turnover divided by average AR. Accounts payable turnover divided by average accounts payable. Okay? Clear guys? Clear so far itong mga ano natin, itong mga measures natin na to? Okay, thank you. All right. Now, as I said, guys, 6.1, 10.2, 15.1 does not actually mean anything if it's taken out of context. No? Ang alam lang natin, 6.1 times, ibig sabihin yan, the company is able to buy raw materials, convert to finished product, and then sell 6 times a year. No? Yun ang velocity niya. Yun ang ilang beses siya nagagawa yan sa isang taon. Walang ibig sabihin yan. Ganun lang yan. Unless na i-compare natin yan. Okay, paano? Kunyari, last year, okay, sorry, ito pala yung natin, no? Sorry, ito pala yung sa atin. Inventory turn, industry pala to guys, my apologies. Mali ito. Okay. So as I was saying guys, taken out of context, wala tayong masyadong makikita, no? 3.9, so ano ibig sabihin 3.9? So on the average, the company was able to turn over its inventory around 4 times a year. Ibig sabihin, bumili siya ng raw materials, convert into finished goods, binenta. 4 na beses approximately every year. Okay, now, is that good or bad? Well, we don't know guys, we don't know. But when you now begin to benchmark it, take it from a holistic perspective, o, tingnan natin, yung industry. Yung industry nyo guys, ito yung magiging mas malaking company sa context nyo. Kunyari, GMA at saka ABS-CBN. Si GMA ba, kunyari ito si GMA 3.9, tapos si ABS-CBN 6.1, now we're talking. So in terms of turning over the inventory, mas magaling si ABS-CBN, no? Kasi si GMA 3.9 times lang. Si ABS 6.1 times. So malaki yung discrepancy. 6 na beses si ABS na to turn over yung inventory, si GMA barely 4 times lang. So that will show in the operating performance. Mas mabilis yung pag ni ABS. So ang tanong, bakit kaya? Okay? So maganda kung in the absence of any information, we can hypothesize, no? Bakit kaya mas mabilis yung ni ABS? And you can propose some reasons why that is so. And then not only that, tingnan natin dito sa previous year, no, 5.0. Ibig sabihin yan, bumaba yung speed nila, yung velocity nila sa operations nila. Kasi di ba ang whole soul ng operation, yung pagbili ng, at least for a manufacturing company, pagbili ng raw materials, pag-process nun, convert into finished goods, and then pagbenta. Noong 2020, 5 times siya ginagawa every year yun. Tapos 2021, bumagsak yung yung inventory turnover. What could be a cause? So siguro sa mga ngayon, no, kung makukuha natin 2020, malamang yan guys, pwedeng bumaba yung ITO. What could be causes of that? Possible yung sa COVID, no? Yung operations ng company, since siguro hindi siya essential goods, no? Pinatigil muna, magkaroon lang muna ng skeletal force na pagganahin lang yung makina guys, kasi pag hindi gumana yung makina, pwedeng masira, no? Pwedeng masira yon. So that has operational context, no? So yung mga ganung reason, especially kung manufacturing. Okay? So you get this guys. So itong 3.9, may kwento na tayo dito. Si benchmark natin 6.1. Okay? Ibig sabihin, 6 na beses na nagagawa ni ni competitor, tapos tayo 4 times lang. Tapos what's worse is that the company's performance went down from 5 naging 3.9 lang. Naging 3.9 na lang. So nakikita nyo guys yung ganung klaseng kwento, no, from that one figure, we're able to see ano yung nangyari dun sa company. And maybe ililink mo yan sa sales, no? Titingnan natin yung sales. Bumababa yung sales sa 2020, etc. No? So parang kung nangyari niyan, that's what you mean by taking a look at it from a holistic perspective. Hindi lang isang figure na yan. Tingnan natin, no? Anong effect sa sales? Okay? Anong effect sa net income? Alright? So for example dito, ano ba yung sales na 2021? Okay, 2021. Nag-increase naman yung sales, no? Nag-increase from 5.8 to 7 million. And that was an increase of 20%. Okay, so kita nyo guys, pag meron tayong pag meron tayong vertical at saka horizontal analysis, ang daling tingnan yung kwento eh. Pero that pales in comparison guys with yung increase sa 2019 at saka 2020 kasi yung increase sa 2020, 2019, 2020 was 70%. And that could be seen kasi yung velocity ng ITO niya, it increased, it was 5 times a year. Okay. Dito, 3.9, nag-increase naman yung sales natin. However, it was not as let's say as impressive as during 2020. Okay, between 2019 and 2020. Okay, guys, clear? Clear ba yung narrative na yon? Kindly chat, guys, kung clear so far yung narrative niyan. Okay. All right, thank you. Okay. Then the same thing, guys, for the other ratios. Ang importante dito, naiintindihan natin kung ano tong ratio na to, and then bine-benchmark natin. Benchmark across time, okay? Titingnan natin kung ano nangyari to over the years, and then benchmark against key details about your financial statements. Katulad ng ginawa natin dito sa ITO, tinignan natin yung impact sa sales. Hindi na natin tinignan yung impact sa profitability. No? Okay? And then, kinumpare din natin sa benchmark company natin. Okay? So, yun yung mga dimensions ng, ng benchmarking natin. No? Okay. Then, let's go, guys, to the next set. Itong DIO, DSO, or DPO, aka AIP, ACP, APP. Okay. Ano naman to, guys? Kung yung inventory turnover, it measures how many times. The DIO measures how many times between days. Okay. So pareho lang yung parehong concept lang yan, pero iba yung mini-measure nila. Yung ITO, number of times, yung DIO, ilang days. So this is your days inventory outstanding, okay? Or average inventory average AIP, average inventory period. Sulat ko lang dito para average inventory period. That's your AIP. Tapos yung ito, days inventory outstanding. Lagay ko na lang dito. Ano? Lagyan natin ng comment. Insert comment. Yan. So this is days inventory outstanding. Or average inventory okay. You can put notes on your, makikita nyo guys, may notes kung may red mark na dito sa upper, and then you can see now days inventory outstanding and average inventory period. You can insert that by going to your cell and then right click and then dito insert comment. Tapos kung may comment na, either edit or delete. Okay, so far clear, guys? Clear? Okay, pause muna ako. May questions ba? Clear ba tayo so far? Okay, good. Thank you. Thank you. Okay, anong difference guys ni DIO at saka ni ITO? Balikan natin itong natin, no? Itong sheet natin. Si ITO, it measures the number of times. Si DIO naman, it measures, dito yung DIO natin. Let me insert it here. Related itong dalawang to, no? DIO or aka average inventory period. It tells us the number of days. So, ilang araw to? How many days is this? Ilang araw from buying raw materials, converting to finished goods, and then selling. So, lahat yan, number of days, no? So, on the average, ilang days does it take the company to buy raw materials, convert into finished product, and then sell? That's what you call your DIO or your average inventory period. And the formula for that is your number of, yung operating period natin, ibig sabihin, ilang days a year tayo nag-ooperate. So if the company is operating on the average every day, so that would be 365 days, no? Okay, so if they're operating 365 days, then we can now compute for the DIO, which is your operating days divided by your ITO. So since may ITO na tayo, guys, we can now compute for the days inventory outstanding. So if you take a look at this, so it's assuming that the operating days of the company is 365, it's 365 divided by the average, the ITO. Okay? Ganon din dito sa days sales outstanding, which is the number of days it takes the company to what? Collect on their receivables, no? Kasi una, nabenta na muna, pagkabenta, nabilang na yun sa days inventory outstanding. Tapos, pagkabenta, tapos pagkakolekta, yun yung days sales outstanding or average collection period. Okay, so in this case, 39. So 39 days is a number of days on the average it takes the company after selling to collect on their receivables. Okay, good or bad? Good or bad, guys? 39 days daw, average. Is that good or bad, guys? All right. Okay, so again, we cannot answer that, guys, just by looking at the number itself. Asan yung days? Saan yan? Days inventory. Ito, no? Ito pala, days inventory outstanding, 95. So 95 days, pagkabenta, saka nakokolekta. Okay, hindi natin masasagot kung good or bad itong 95. It has to be taken in context, yung sinasabi natin. 95, as compared to 60, that's bad, no? Kasi yung competitor natin, 60 days, nakokolekta na kagad nila eh. Tayo, more than 1 month pa bago natin makolekta. No? So ano yung possible na reason nun? Well, pwedeng very poor collection team. Siguro hindi minamanage yung receivables. Nag-due na pala yung isang account, walang nagpa-follow up, walang nangongolekta. Okay, so very weak collection operations yung team, yung company. So, syempre, yung bumili, guys, hindi niya i-remind kayo unless na faithful na ano din, yung mapagkakatiwalaan yung customer, no? Na yun nagbabayad on time. Kaya yung ibang ginagawa, nagbibigay ng discount, yung 1 out of 30, for example, okay, to encourage the customers to pay on time para may discount sila. Pero kasi kung walang discount, kung ano lang, kung terms lang, okay, pay in 30 days, minsan pahirapan pa, no, mangolekta. And this seems to be the the explanation here. So compared to the benchmark company, talong-talo sila. In fact, last year, naka 73 days na sila, no? On the average. Ngayon, umakyat ng 22 days. Okay? So from both sides, okay, talo na nga sila ng competitor nila, tapos nag-deteriorate pa yung operation sila, yung collection period nila. And that's very vital, guys, kasi kung hindi nako-collecta on time, nakaka-affect yan sa cash flow ng company, nakaka-affect yan sa investment ng company. Okay. Clear so far, guys, dito sa days inventory outstanding or average, days sales outstanding or average collection period. Saan ba tayo? 39, no? Ay, wait. Mali ako. Sorry, 39 pala tayo. Sorry, na-mix up ko, guys, yung 95 kanina. This is your days inventory outstanding. This is your days sales outstanding. 39 days for the company to collect. 15 yung competitor. Talon-talo sila. Last year, 31 days to collect. So, medyo nag-deteriorate yung collection function nila. So, something has to be done about that. Kung titingnan natin from a financial perspective, yung analysis ng financial statements, very, very bad signal yan. No? Something has to be done with the way the company is collecting on its account. Okay? All right. And then, Ano tong days payable outstanding? Back here, guys, it's the number of days it takes the company to purchase on account and then to pay. No? Purchase on account, pay. Ilang araw yan? Days payable outstanding. So it turns out here, the formula is cost of goods sold divided by the average inventory. So pakita natin to. No? So 365 divided by F98. Mukhang may mali tayo dito. F98. Saan yan? Where is F9? Sorry. Ito na pala. No? 365 divided by apto. Our apto is this one. 17. Sorry Pero ito, wait. Tama to. Average. Okay. Days payable outstanding, 22. Again, how do we comment on this 22? Compare natin sa industry. Compare natin sa benchmark natin. Yung benchmark company natin, binibigyan siya ng 90 days, no? Around 3 months, bago niya babayaran yung yung payables niya. Okay, in a sense, that's very good, guys, kasi mas longer yung term na binibigay sa kanila. Siguro ito, yung company, siguro may experience yung mga suppliers nila na hindi nagbabayad yan. Kaya wag natin bibigyan ng terms yan. This is also what we call reputational index, no? Kung matagal magbayad yung company, and not because they're not able, but because of the suppliers who would want to partner with that company. Tingnan nyo guys, tingnan nyo to. Isang context to Si company A, okay, kunyari kanina, yung example natin, kunyari ABS-CBN to, kunyari GMA, ABS. Example lang. Kunyari si ABS, nagkaroon siya ng magandang reputation na nagbabayad siya on time. Okay? Example lang yan that might not be true. Tapos, because of that, over time, it's able now to get a good reputation among companies, among suppliers. And since ABS is a good company, other suppliers would want to partner with ABS. Kasi parang bragging rights din nila yan. Customer namin si ABS. Bago mo maging customer si ABS, kailangan magaling ka din, no? Kasi parang dadaan ka sa butas ng karayom bago ka maging customer ni ABS. Parang ganon. So companies are willing na bigyan natin ng magandang terms para lang maging customer tayo ni ABS. No? Unfortunately, sometimes guys, naaabuso yung ganyan. No? Mamaya, magbibigay ako ng explanation kung bakit naaabuso din yung ganyan. Okay, so 90 days, in this sense guys, mas magaling yung benchmark company natin. Okay? Although nag-improve siya kasi dati 17 days, okay? Ngayon 22 days na lang. Pero guys, take note pwede ring dati nakakabayad sila on the 17th day, ngayon 22 days, on the 22nd day. Pwede ring mixed signal yan. Mixed signal. The positive signal is that mas may mahaba silang terms. Assuming that capable sila to pay. Okay? Ang another assumption yan, ang negative signal yan is that tumatagal kasi hindi nakakabayad yung company, walang pambayad. Yun ang nakakatakot doon, guys. From 17 to 22, it's a double-edged sword, no? It can be good in the sense that binibigyan sila ng longer terms ng company, ng suppliers nila. Or it can be bad in the sense that hindi kagad nila nakokolekta on time, di ba? 39 days sila bago makolekta, tapos kailangan nila magbayad on the 22nd day. You see that, guys? Tingnan nyo ito, Day sales outstanding. They're able to collect on their receivables in 39 days average. Tapos, magbabayad sila ng payable sila on the 22nd day. Meron tayong mismatch, no? And that can cause some problem to the company. Kung mas mabilis yung re-require sa kanila na magbayad as compared to yung nakakolekta sila ng receivable sila. Okay? Clear yung guys? Clear so far yung kwento natin nun? Clear? Clear ba so far guys yung ano natin? Yung DIO, DSO, and DPO? Okay. Right. So very important to guys, itong ratios na to as part of your ALM as asset management ratio. Okay, asset management ratio. Okay, what's your operating cycle? Your operating cycle is simply ilang araw muna bago ma-convert into finished product and then sell, plus from selling to collecting. Okay, so balikan natin to. Okay. So from nabenta, bumili ng raw materials, ito. Let me just go to another part here. Okay. Buy raw materials. No? Tapos convert to finished goods. And then sell. Okay, ano to guys? This is your, what's this? Anong tawag sa days na to guys? This is your, hello? Hello class, anong tawag doon? What do you call this? Yung days na to, anong tawag dyan? Buy raw materials, convert into finished product, and then sell. What do you call this? Okay? ITO is the number of times, no? Pero yung days, guys, anong tawag natin dyan? That's your ITO is the number of times a year. Ito naman, this is your average number of days. It's your average inventory period or days, ano guys, inventory outstanding. Diba? Okay, tapos pagkabayad guys, kolekta. Collect. This is now your, ano to? This is your DSO. That's your days sales outstanding. Okay? Pag inad natin guys tong dalawang to, DIO plus DSO, this is what we call your operating cycle. Okay? From the time you buy materials and then you collect your sales, that's your operating cycle. Okay? How many days does it take you to buy raw materials, convert to finished product, sell the goods, and then collect on your accounts? That's your operating cycle. Okay. And then this one, ano to, guys? Sabihin natin, this is buy your raw materials. Tapos, ito natin lagay, for example. And then pay your payables. Pay your AP. What do you call this? What do we call this, guys? This is your DPO. That's your days payable outstanding. Days inventory outstanding, number of days it takes on the average to buy your raw materials, convert to finished goods, and then sell. And then from selling up to collecting, that's your day sales outstanding. The total of your DIO and your DSO is your operating cycle. On the other hand, sabi natin na DPO is the number of days it takes us to buy the raw materials. And then we have this one. We have this measure. Okay, your cash conversion cycle. Cash conversion cycle is your operating cycle. Let's call this OC. Minus your DPO. Or this is your DIO plus DSO. Tapos ima-minus natin DPO, that's your cash conversion cycle. Okay, let's just take a look at this diagram. Kasi guys, maraming implication tong diagram na to. Okay, once again guys, review natin, DIO, ilang araw bago bumili ng raw material. Pagbili ng raw material, convert to finished goods, and then benta. DIO. DSO, from the selling up to the collection, that's your DSO. Pag tinotal natin to guys, that's called your operating cycle. Okay, which is the number of days it takes us to buy raw materials and then ultimately to collect. No? Parang from assuming na bumili tayo ng raw materials in cash, this is the cash to cash cycle. From cash dito up to cash at this point. Okay, let's go back to our measure and try to make some sense of these measures. Okay, so this is your operating cycle, which is simply your days inventory outstanding plus days sales outstanding. Okay. All right, so compare natin 134 from the time it takes us to buy raw materials to collect, that's 134 days, compared to 75 ng competitor natin. Talong-talo tayo guys. No? Sa kanila, within 75 days, na produce na yung finished goods, then nabenta na. Sa atin, halos doble nito, no? 134 days. And of course, I'll be assuming that mas magaling tong company na to, no? Kasi 75 versus 134. In fact, nag-deteriorate tayo, no? 30 days. Bumagal tayo ng 30 days compared to 2020. Okay? So you can see here. Operating cycle natin, 134. Okay, then, what's our cash conversion cycle? Our cash conversion cycle is your operating cycle minus your days payable outstanding. Okay, so it's 128 minus 101 ito. So this is 110, 87, 112, while the competitor has 70, negative 15. Okay, how do we make sense out of this? Negative 15 yung competitor natin, tayo 112. Tumaas pa tayo compared to 2019, 87 lang. Okay, balik tayo sa diagram natin. So where here guys is your cash conversion cycle. Sa diagram natin dito, asa yung cash conversion cycle natin. Okay, so our cash conversion cycle is this one. Okay. This is our cash conversion cycle. Okay, ano yung implication nito, guys? What's the implication of this cash conversion cycle? The higher, the better ba to? What do you think, guys? Is this a case of the higher, the better, or the lower, the better? Pakichat nga. Is it a case of the higher, the better, or the lower, the better, or neither? Yung cash conversion cycle ba, the higher the better or the lower the better? Kasi tayo 100 plus eh, while our competitor company negative. So paano natin i-ano yan? Okay, sabi ni Charles, lower. Okay, the lower the better. Christian. Okay, any other answers guys? Any guess? Lower. Okay, thank you for those answers guys. Now would like to explain. Hans, gusto mong i-try explain kung bakit lower yung sinabi mo? Or si Charles or si Christian? Any volunteer? You have the same answer, lower, lower, lower. Guess lang. Anyone would like to venture an explanation?
Sir?
Yes?
I think po kasi the lower the better kasi po that means that the company can get cash from their activities in a faster
Okay.
period of time po.
Okay. Alright. Sino to? Si Christian ba to?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Thank you. Thank you. Okay. Actually, that's the correct answer, no? Okay. Pero let's elaborate natin, ha? Okay. So, tingnan nyo itong diagram natin, guys. Kailan pa mako-collect yung cash dito? Dito pa, no? Lagyan natin ng figures para ano? Para may ano tayo, numbers. DIO natin, 95 tsaka 39, no? 95, 39, 22. So this is this is 95. This is 39. Okay, pag inad natin yan, ang total natin dito is 127, no? 124. 124. So this is our operating cycle. Ito naman, guys, si DPO natin, ilan to? 22. Okay. Tingnan natin yung diagram natin, guys. Bumili ng raw materials, convert into finished goods, nabenta, nakolekta. So money will be coming in on day 124, di ba? Okay. Kaso sa supplier, guys, kailangan natin bayaran na on the 22nd day. Okay? Okay, assuming, guys, na basic assumption lang na wala pang pambayad dito. Kasi dito pa makokolekta yung pera eh. Anong gagawin natin? Hindi naman maganda na magdi-default tayo sa utang. Mababudget tayo niyan, guys, sa industriya. No? Wala na magpapautang sa atin. So chances are, guys, manghihiram to pay this due, this payable. No? So manghihiram tayo, so may interest yun, di ba? And then, kailan natin mababayaran yung hiniram natin? The time we collect. No? Dito sa 124 na to. So in other words, guys, 124 days minus 22, that's your 102 days. That's your cash conversion cycle, which means ito yung number of days to finance yung mga trade payables natin. Trade payables that became due. Okay? So, ibig sabihin yan, guys, 102 days muna tayo bago makabenta. So, that's more than 3 months. And we know, guys, that interest, ba? Interest is, ano, guys? Ano masasabi natin to? Interest is a function of what? It's a function of, di ba, time? Di ba? Interest is a function of time. The longer the number of days, guys, the higher will be your interest payments. Diba? Okay, so the higher the cash conversion cycle, guys, means the longer the average number of days in order to finance the trade payables that became due. So the longer it is, guys, the worse for the company. Okay? As compared to, for example, ang DPO natin, kunyari binigyan tayo ng 100 days. Kunyari lang, 100 days. So sa 100 days pa tayo magbabayad, di ba? So that leaves us with just 24 days to finance yung payables natin. Mas konti na lang yung interest natin kasi in a matter of 24 days, makakabayad na tayo, no? Ng payables natin. So manghihiram muna tayo on the 100 day and then bayaran natin ulit yung pinaghiraman natin after 24 days. So the bigger the cash conversion cycle, guys, is the worse it is for the company kasi it tells us that it's not able to collect as fast as it should. And also, the other side of the story is it's required to pay its payables faster than it's able to collect the receivables. So may problema yan, guys. Okay? So paano naman yung isa, guys? Ano ibig sabihin nito? Ito. Si competitor natin, negative 15 days. What does that mean? Anong implication nito? What's the implication here? I-diagram natin. Let's take a look at it from a diagram's perspective. Okay. Again, guys, paki-dictate nga guys, ilan yung DIO niya? How many number of days guys yung DIO? Ni industry or ni competitor? Paki-unmute na lang guys para mabilis tayo. Hello? Can anyone just shout out guys, ano yung DIO ng industry?
Sir, 60.
60, ito. And then yung DSO?
15, 15, sir.
1.5. So what will be our operating cycle? It's 60 plus 15, 75, di ba? Tama, guys? What's our DPO? What's our DPO, guys?
90, sir.
90, no? 90. Ito. $90. So that means guys, nakolekta na natin yung payables natin. Tapos, sa 90th day pa tayo magbabayad, di ba? Alright? So that means negative 15 kasi 75 minus 90. So that leaves us with 15 more days in order to use the funds for something else bago tayo magbabayad dun sa trade payables natin. So you see the difference, guys, between a positive cash conversion cycle and a negative cash conversion cycle. Okay? Theoretically, guys, this is good. However, may caveat yan, ha? May caveat. Because it might tell a lot also about how we deal with our suppliers. Okay, makukolekta natin yung pera natin, 75th day. Now, may mga example na ganito, guys, na magbabayad sila sa payable sila kasi masyado na malaki yung company na yun. So DPO nila is say 180 days. So mga 6 months. Okay? So ang cash conversion nila nito is negative 105. So that's more than 3 months, no? Na nakuha na nila yung payment ng ng mga customers. Tapos ang babayaran nila yung suppliers 180 days pa. Can you think of a business, guys, na medyo ganito yung dati at least I know, no? Kasi may mga kaibigan ako who does business with this big company. Tapos nare-receive nila, guys, yung mga collection nila mga 6 months, 4 months to 6 months. Tapos syempre babayaran nila yung mga suppliers nila after 30 days, ganun. Pero marireceive nila yung mga sales nila dun sa company na yun, mga 6 months pa, 180 days. Anong company yun, guys? Offhand, do you know a company whose business model is like that? Anyone, guys? It's actually a real estate company. No? Two letters, guys, yung ano nila. 2 letters, yung acronym ng company. Marami yan, marami sa Pilipinas. Anyone? Can anyone guess, guys? Meron dyan sa Mega, meron dyan sa reclaimed area, meron sa Santa Mesa, marami kahit saan, guys.
Yes?
Yes?
Sir, SM.
Yes, SM, guys. Yan, SM. Real estate kasi yung SM, di ba? Real estate, primarily a real estate company yan. Pinaparent out, pinapalis sila yung mga spaces dun sa and I've known of some friends who used to do business with SM. Kaso ang collection diyan maabot ng 6 months, no? Bago nila nako-collect yung ano, yung mga nabebenta nila. Eh, paano magso-survive yun? Paano mag-ano? Paano, unless mahaba guys yung PC mo na kayang-kaya mong ano, kayang-kaya mo tong DPO, no? Na 180 days. Okay? Ang hinahabol lang din dun kasi yung reputation at saka yung foot traffic, yung maraming taong pumunta. But then again, guys, yung nakaka-survive dito, yung medyo mahahaba din yung PC, no? Tsaka yung ibang mga well-established na rin. Pero pag medyo baguhan ka, tapos ano, malabo, no? I have at least 2 friends who were not able to survive. So doon sila nagpunta sa Robinsons, no? Kasi sa Robinsons medyo mas lenient, mas mababa yung ano bali sa perspective ng company o yung DSO nila, okay, yung sa friend ko, ang DSO nila ito yung 180 days, no? It takes them a long time to collect on their receivables. Okay. So very important to guys, itong measures na to, yung asset management ratios na to, no? Yung ITO, RTO up to in relation to DIO, DSO, DPO, and itong dalawang to, operating cycle and cash conversion cycle. Okay, guys? It's almost time. Clear yun? Clear? Clear ba, guys, yung discussion natin ito? Okay, so let me just finish this pala bago ako magtanong para matapos na natin itong AM. FATO is simply, guys, ilan yung profit na na-generate for every 1 peso of fixed asset. Okay, so kung titingnan natin dito, guys, FATO and TATO is total net income after tax over average total asset. So ibig sabihin dito, in 2021, the company was able to earn 30 centavos for every 1 peso invested in fixed assets. Okay, that's really way behind kung i-compare natin sa competitor company nila. Ito 8 centavos lang yung bottom line niya per 1 peso of total asset. Ibig sabihin mas efficient tong competitor niya kasi nakakapag-generate to ng 2.5 pesos for every 100 pesos of total assets, or 2.5 centavos for every 1 peso of total assets. Ito 7 pesos ang profit for every 100 pesos of fixed assets. Ito wala ngang piso eh, no? 30 centavos lang. Ito 8 centavos lang. Pero may improvement naman siya kasi last year negative to, no? Negative. So in that regard, at least naka-recover siya. Dito 29 centavos siya. Dito naglo-lose sila eh. They were hemorrhaging. They were losing 15 centavos for every 1 peso of fixed assets. Okay? So, yeah, that's about it, guys, for your asset management ratio. Hope you learned something today about the very important asset management. Next meeting, tatapusin na natin to, no? Para matapos na tayo dito sa ano, and then just take a look at some of this. Pakibasa nga, guys, ito pakitingnan na lang kung ano ba yung DuPont ratio na to at saka itong Altman Z. What is this used for? Yung Altman Z at saka DuPont. So that will cover our topics for next meeting. Tapusin na natin to so that we can now move on to the next topic in our outline. All right? Clear yung guys? Clear? Any questions? May natutunan ba kayo ngayon this afternoon? Paki-chat na lang kung pwede. I'll appreciate that, guys. Did you learn something this afternoon? Okay, thank you. Salamat. Thank you. Okay, thank you. That's good. Okay. Sige, salamat guys. Okay, so please stay safe. Okay, and I'll see you on Thursday. Okay. Sige, for those of you who will have your attendance check,